Ready to start?
Ready to start. I like it.
Good Shabbos, everybody.
Good Shabbos.
Shabbat shalom to old friends, new friends, Zoom friends, and room friends. Sorry, I don't mean to be Rabbi Seuss, but it is good to see all of you. This is a momentous Shabbat because this is our last lower level Shabbat service, at least for a while. I think we actually might miss it when we move, partially. I don't know about you, but I find that going back to preschool has had its charms. But nevertheless, we're really excited to be in a transitionary time, which I think many of you know if you saw the email that went out today, that our ark has finally been installed. The doors are ready to be revealed. They won't be quite yet. So if you come to the bar mitzvah tomorrow, they won't be quite revealed, but we're going to have a little ceremony next Friday, which Rabbi Offner is going to be here to sort of shepherd us through as part of a very special service. So big things happening, big milestones achieved here at Temple Beth Tikvah, and over the next month there will be lots of people to thank as we move into our new upstairs temple home. So what could be more exciting than that? And well, when we gather on Friday nights, we follow the words of the psalmist who says, Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash. We come together to sing to God a new song. Sometimes the song is an old song, and sometimes we need a way to make it new. So whether this opening song is a new song to you, or whether you just need to find a new Shabbat energy to bring to it, I invite you to lift your voices with us. You'll find that we love to sing around here. So please join us in this wordless melody. Here comes this refrain, it comes back. That melody will keep coming back. Here it is again. Well, this is an opportunity to allow ourselves to arrive, in addition to in our bodies, in our spiritual space. and appreciate that the time is transitioning into Shabbat, a day of rest, a day of recharging, a day of perhaps appreciating in a new way the things that we let whiz by during the week with all of its needs, tasks, busyness, and obligations. So we'll take a minute to perhaps close our eyes, find ourselves seated comfortably in our seats wherever we are. Allow yourself to relax those shoulder blades, feel if they have been scrunched up or hunched over, and just take a deep cleansing breath from the belly, deep breath in and let it out. Maybe a few more of those, just to take a moment of stillness to arrive. We can open our eyes and maybe take the opportunity to find somebody sitting around us, somebody we haven't said hello to yet tonight, and wish them a Shabbat Shalom. I think we've already said Shabbat Shalom. But I would love to invite you to live the campus if you'd like to. Mike, do you want to come too? We're on page 120. We welcome Shabbat with these lights, the warmth within our hearts and within our temple home.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher tishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehavlikeh
Thank you, Mike and Toby, and welcome back. So glad to have you back here. Kabbalat Shabbat, we enter into the special Friday night service, page 130. And this is a unique service in that it's supposed to be pure singing, pure joy. It's a service consisting mostly of the Psalms, which were written to be sung. And so we sing them. You know, the words may pose a barrier if our Hebrew is not the most comfortable place for us. And that's okay, because the melody is the most important thing, the energy is the most important thing, the nigun, or the wordless song, is the most important thing in order to let the spirit and the voices rise. So if Yai Lalai becomes more comfortable for you at any point, feel free to bring that into the space. And this first one has some call and response too, if you're new to this. All right, so we're on page 130 in the brackets, if you have a narrow book. If you don't have any brackets, then that's the only page number you've got. So page 130.
That again.
on the following page, Shiru Ladonai, sing out a new song.
Shiru Adonai, Hadash, Shiru Adonai, Kol Haaretz, Shiru Adonai, Baruch Hu Shemo, Basu Miyom Le'yom Yeshuato, Sa'u Adonai, Kevodo, Ve'ol Ha'amim, Mileotai.
Ay, ay, Shammai v'zagel haaretz, Yadai. Just yell it out. All right, let's clap those hands. Here we go. All right. Well, now the blood is flowing and the energy is going, and we're getting into Shabbat. And so we're ready to greet Shabbat. The mystics in Tzfat, Shabbat Shalom, envision Shabbat as a beloved friend who comes back to greet us, as though from the furthest distance, the friend could possibly be every single Shabbat. And so it's supposed to awaken in us this feeling of joy and love and reunion every time Shabbat comes back. We go out to meet it. So we symbolically won't actually go outside to meet it like the mystics used to do, but we will symbolically at the end of the Chadudi rise and offer a little bow of greeting to Shabbat, showing the honor, the kavod of Shabbat, as we as we re-enter into that reunion space. So we're on page 138 for Lecha Dodi. And remember, if you have brackets, listen to the pages we give for the brackets. Verse 5. We rise and face the entrance. 242.
Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharim, Malachei Elyon, Malachei Malachim,
Let's all try that chorus together. Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharim, Malachei Elyon, Malachei Malachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Come in peace, O angels, bow us out.
Achem Shalom, Achem Shalom. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharim, Malachei Elyon, Malachei Malachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Barkuni l'shalom, bless me.
Barkuni l'shalom,
Malachei Hashalom. HaKadosh
Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharim, Malachei Elyon, Malachei Malachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Sacred Shalom, Shalom. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharim, Malachei Elyon, Malachei Malachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
You might have noticed that already in this service, we have a few bows. Another bow is coming. The ancient rabbis likened these bows in our service to entering the court of a king or queen. And for some of us, that image evokes something powerful. For others, perhaps it's more challenging. Another way to think of the bow is just the gesture of humility before a power that is not us. a power that is much bigger than any of us. Because one of the purposes of religion, when it is done well, is to remind us that even if we don't believe in God, we are not God, and we will never be God. So even if God is not part of the picture, this is a reminder that we are not God. Please rise, page 146. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Page 149, at the top, we read together in English. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars, creator of the tide of time and light. You guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set the course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'ma'ariv v'havim. Page 150.
Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael Amcha Torah u'mitzvot Tuvim u'mishpatim Otanu limadeta Ein Adonai Eloheinu Teshuvenu kuleinu Nasiach befukcha V'nisach b'divrei Toratecha U'b'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed Ki Inu v'oret yameinu v'oret yameinu Yomam v'layla Yomam v'layla ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני
Have a seat. Page 154.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובמשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם.
Is there anyone who would like to offer an English intentional reading on page 159? Anybody want to read that one? We have a taker from the back. Please, Carol.
Do you want me to stand?
Sure. You're comfortable doing so.
I am. Sing the song of men and women, joined in understanding and respect, the song of God's miracles, an earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come. The song of a land once ravished by war, now quiet and content. Her soldiers home, to leave no more. The song of a world redeemed, the song of peace.
Thank you. Page 160.
השיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו שורנו לחיים. השיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו שורנו לחיים. השיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו שורנו לחיים.
העמידנו שורנו
אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו
לשלום והעמידנו שורנו לשלום והעמידנו שורנו. ברוך אתה אדוני הפורס שמחת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים. Bless you, O God, and shelter of peace is over us, our people, and Jerusalem. Together we say, Amen. returning to the theme of a challenging relationship with God, I would like to share the words at this point to give us a little intention from our teacher, Rabbi Harold Kushner, alav hashalom, who many of us have one of his books in our library. In fact, I was meeting earlier this week with our interfaith group of clergy in town, which, I mean, let's be honest about our town, that means the Christian clergy and me. And so I mentioned his name and all of them lit up and said, oh, of course, we have his books. And he wrote a very influential book called When Bad Things Happen to Good People. And it was his effort of trying to understand a very broken world when he and his wife experienced a horrible traumatic loss. And it's worth reading for all of us. And he passed away just in the past week after a long and successful career serving primarily as the senior rabbi of a congregation in Natick, Massachusetts, if I remember correctly. And as he became more famous, his role there diminished, but I've talked to some people in our congregation who grew up with him, and they all talk about his incredibly powerful sermons and his warm way. And so I'll share this one idea as a tribute to him. And I'll also add as a little pitch that at our Chaverim or men's club spirituality discussion this coming Sunday, we're going to be looking at a few of his insights and discussing them together. So I see some people in here for whom that might be a good fit, who I don't always see at the men's spirituality. So without naming any names, I'll just say you're all welcome to be there. So here's one thing that Rabbi Kushner says about prayer. He says, you know what we've done in this country? We have confused God with Santa Claus. And we believe that prayer means making a list of everything you don't have, but want, and trying to persuade God that you deserve it. Now, I'm sorry, that's not God, that's Santa Claus. Prayer is not bargaining with God. Prayer is simply coming into the presence of God. Because when you come into the presence of God, even the things you don't have matter a lot less. This part of the service called the Amidah during the week is full of all kinds of requests of bakashot. In fact, most of the blessings within the Amidah, and its 19 blessings, contain bakashot, requests. But on Shabbat, that section is actually removed from the Amidah, and we don't formally ask for things. And I don't really know why that is. I don't think anybody really knows why that is. You might say that God deserves to rest too, which would be a fair assessment. But perhaps in light of thinking of Rabbi Kushner's Torah here, one way to understand that is that it's a reminder that the purpose of asking for things is not because we are sure that we will get them or that we think God will give them to us. And so lest we go too far in that direction of thinking that prayer works so linearly, it's an opportunity for us to remember that just to be in the presence of spirituality and holiness is itself a chance to move from where we have been to where we want to go. So perhaps we can consider that an invitation into Amidah, which is an opportunity to bless together and also privately. We'll begin as one with the first three blessings, and then we'll have a moment for silent prayer as well. So I invite you to please rise if it's comfortable, and we continue with page 164.
Adonai, Sefer Tikvah, Ufi Agi Tehillateh. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, Ve'konei Hakol, Ve'zocher Chasdei Avot V'Imahot, U'mevii Geulah Livnei Bneihem, Le'ma'an Shemo Be'ahava. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה.
Page 168.
אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, בחיי הכל אתה רב ומושיע. מוליד אתה, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, צומח נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו, לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומדומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה. ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני, לחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלע. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
Continue through to page 180 privately. Feel free to continue in the words of the book or the words of your own heart. And when you are ready, but not before, you may be seated. Meditation on page 180, about halfway down through the page.
Adonai Tzuri v'Gohali. Adonai Tzuri v'Gohali. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you.
Pause for a moment to think of those in our community in need of healing. We have Alicia Bayroff every Friday night at TBT and Saturday mornings too, when we have a service. And so this is our prayer where we pray for the healing of those who are in need of bodily strength, of spiritual recovery, of mental fortitude. And so I'll share the names of those known to our congregation. And then if you'd like to add anyone you're thinking of for prayers, feel free to do so afterwards, whether in person or in the chat on Zoom. We think of our temple members at this time: April D'Amato, Norma Diamond, Ann Karamenis, Josh Lipschitz, Ken Gammerman, Patty Sussman, Mark Warner, Eric Manis, Donald Petrill, Larry Pepper, and Froman Davis. And also our loved ones: Barak Yaakov and Abraham Besara, Tamar Bat Rachel, Harav Chaim Ben Leah, Connie Ambrosino, Nikki Bart, Jay Fliss, Michelle Rusinko, Dick Schaefer, Joanne Crusulo, Jack Dock, Bart Young, Mark Ostreicher, Matthew Pincus, Soraya Casey, Joan Shapiro Green, Marvin Goldberg, John Van Steenbergen, Monica Capoziello, Faye Young, Paul Frisman, Bruce Petroff, Raymond Wolf, Kim Weeder, Tim Maurer, Gloria Newell, Sabine Meyer, Carol Bartlett, Carol Chaikin, Adrian Wasserman, Trevor Jones, Peter David, Kevin Susi, Emily Berry, Dee Garabo, Davis Chamberlain, Maureen Victor, Paul McPose, and Monica Capoziello. There are others who we add to our prayers. Feel free to share their names aloud if you would like, or hold them in your heart.
Carol Robb.
Carol Robb.
Rabbi Andy Sklarz.
Sorry?
Rabbi Andy Sklarz.
Rabbi Andy Sklarz. We refer now to the song sheet that you just received for the words of Lisa Levine's Misha Bera prayer.
Avraham, Yitzchak, veYaakov. Misheberach imotenu, Saharim kalea berachem. May one bless our fathers. May one bless our fathers. Hear our prayer.
Hear our prayer.
Hear our prayer.
Hear our prayer.
Hear our prayer. And bless us as well. Bless us with the power of your healing. Bless us with the power of your hope. May the warmth of friendship ease our sorrow. Give us courage, give us faith, show us the way. Avraham, Yitzchak, veYaakov. Misheberach imotenu, Saharim kalea berachem. May the one who bless our fathers. May the one who bless our fathers. Hear our prayer.
Hear our prayer.
Hear our prayer. And bless us as well.
Well, last week I told the story of my first encounter with ChatGPT. It was an interesting adventure, and I won't recap the entire thing, but suffice it to say that I had a somewhat Orwellian experience. And as part of that experience, I learned that ChatGPT can be very certain of things that are wrong, and that you have to push it quite a lot for it to admit are wrong. Okay. And so, of course, that's probably not going to surprise a lot of people, but it did make me worry in the wake of my experience trying to find the source of a specific midrash of how many kids might use it to quickly find something and then cite it incorrectly. So in that sense, as I said last week, it is both like the internet and also far worse than the internet, given how sophisticated it is. Today, I'd like to add another dimension to the ChatGPT conversation as I continue to learn more about it, with another incident that I recently learned about that did not happen to me, but this really did happen. So one version of ChatGPT, which is of course this artificial intelligence based sort of super digital brain that can do all kinds of things, from giving you directions to planning an itinerary or a vacation, or asking to rephrase a John Bon Jovi song as though Shakespeare wrote it and stuff like that, which is all very amusing. So ChatGPT was asked to complete a task, okay? And the task involved completing a CAPTCHA online. Does everybody know what a CAPTCHA is? Okay, so for those who don't know what a CAPTCHA is, it's that little thing where when you're on a website, it wants you to select all the images that contain a bicycle, for instance, so that it can prove that you're not a robot and using its service in an automated manner. Okay. Of course, ChatGPT is a robot. And so when it was asked to do a task that required a CAPTCHA, it did not have the ability to solve the CAPTCHA itself. It did, however, and this is true, it did, however, go on the app TaskRabbit and create a listing posing as a human being, seeking to hire a different human being to solve a CAPTCHA for it. Okay, not only did it, I have a lot more to say about this than I have tonight, but this is just the first little piece. Not only did it go and create a listing on TaskRabbit for help, but when a human saw the listing and messaged it, the human asked, "Why do you need help with this? Are you a robot trying to gain access to this website illegally?" And then ChatGPT responded, and this is also true, "No, I am visually impaired and I need your help to solve this for me." That is true. It really happened. So, look, nobody died, but I was pretty terrified when I heard that. I was pretty terrified when I heard that. I was getting into it with one of our with one of our design team leaders, who is very much on the opposite side of this issue from me, and he's convinced that we should let the artificial intelligence keep going apace and let it happen as it is happening, and it will only bring good things in the aggregate. And he says it's basically like any other, it's like any other type of technology and paradigm shift within the adoption of said technology. And we can all remember Wikipedia starting, or the internet itself, when people were running around decrying the end of civilization because these technological tools will actually be the end of us and will cause the end of this industry or that industry or human norms and civilization. And well, that one has kind of come true with Facebook, but that's a different conversation. Anyway, so he thinks that I think he's an early adopter, and I appreciate that about him. I have to say, though, that to me, this feels very much like a different type of paradigm shift than before. It feels like something that is not just another version of the next technology that's going to disrupt the industry and move on, but rather it really does feel scary in a different way. And of course, people have been scared of AI and the potential of artificial intelligence for a long, long time, but rarely have I felt that feeling personally after hearing something that really happened from an AI program that exists right now. And so I think it's also worth in this conversation thinking about what leaders in the field are having to say about it too. Because I don't think when Wikipedia came out, there was a letter written by dozens of executives of technology or research companies decrying how this could create a big problem. But nevertheless, that is happening right now. So some of you actually sent me, in the wake of last week's sermon, this article from the New York Times. Perhaps some of you have seen it. The godfather of AI leaves Google and warns of danger ahead. Begins, Dr. Jeffrey Hinton is leaving Google so that he can freely share his concern that artificial intelligence could cause the world serious harm. He officially joined a growing chorus of critics who say those companies are racing toward danger with their aggressive campaign to create products on generative artificial intelligence, the technology that powers popular chatbots like ChatGPT. He says, it's hard to see how you can prevent the bad actors from using it for bad things. This is a guy who created many of the foundational codes or programs that led to many of the current AI systems that are currently vying for the top spot. And he is part of a big trend. I'll read another part of this article. It says, in March, more than 1,000 technology leaders and researchers signed an open letter calling for a 6-month moratorium on the development of new systems because AI technologies pose, quote, profound risks to society and humanity. Several days later, 19 current and former leaders of the Association for the Advancement of Artificial Intelligence, which is a 40-year-old academic society, sent their own letter warning of the risks of AI. That group included Eric Horvitz, Chief Scientific Officer at Microsoft, which has deployed OpenAI's technology across a wide range of products, including its Bing search engine, which, as I understand, is actually using some very similar technology as ChatGPT as they both advance. So what does this mean? You get actually quite a lot of people who are leaders in the industry who are asking us to push on the brakes a little bit here. I don't know enough about this stuff to really opine apart from seeing what it can do and seeing what others are saying about it. And of course, you should all form your own opinions. I'll read a couple of other quotes from Dr. Hinton. As companies improve their AI systems, they become increasingly dangerous. Dr. Hinton believes that the race between Google and Microsoft and others in this chatbot thing will escalate into a global race that will not stop without some sort of global regulation. So I don't know about you, but that makes me a little skeptical. It sounds like that would be pretty hard to achieve unless there's some sort of a pause in order to get some of that together. And when I think about this whole debate, the story that first comes to mind is the Jewish story of the golem. Have you all heard of the golem?
Yes.
All right, so the story of the golem comes from around about 15th century Prague, where a teacher called the Maharal was very concerned about the safety of the Jews in the town because there were persecutions. And so what he did was he sent his students to the banks of the river Vltava, where they created a monster out of clay. If this sounds familiar, Frankenstein and others were certainly influences of this myth. And what Rabbi Lowe did, because he was a mystic and he had access to all of this magical incantations and secret Jewish spells and stuff, is he actually was able to write some Hebrew letters, very powerful Hebrew letters, on the forehead of this monster that they shaped out of clay, say a few spells, and lo and behold, it came to life to serve as the protector of the Jewish people. And all went well, right? No, wrong. What happened? Yeah, that's basically what happened. Instead of only protecting the Jews, it ended up going on the offensive, and a lot of blood was spilled until Rabbi Lowe had to run and erase one of those letters from its forehead, which then removed the spell and killed the golem. And they learned their lesson, hopefully for all times, which is, well, I don't know. What's the lesson there? For me, actually, what this all comes down to is a theological issue, okay? This is about, again, from earlier in the service, who gets to be God and who doesn't. What kinds of powers that God has, we're allowed to access. Because we are, in a certain sense, closer to God than other animals, right? We are different than other animals. We have abilities, we can speak, we have language, right? And language is very powerful in Judaism. Language creates, it builds up and it can destroy quite easily, as all of us know. And that's really the medium that we're talking about these ChatGPT bots right now, is they're using that language in ways that can be amazing and inspiring, but also really dangerous and destructive. So really the question that we all have to ask ourselves is, are we building platforms that will further society, or are we building the golem? Again, I don't know. I don't know for sure, but I'm worried enough that we might be to think about it and maybe consider whether what we're doing might not eventually be the golem. So I'm curious for your perspectives and your experiences with some of these tools. Let's be in conversation about it as you learn more about it. And together, hopefully we can come to some values together, some Jewish values about how we think that technology should and shouldn't be deployed in the modern era. So to be continued, and Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
We're going to join now together in the counting of the Omer. Okay, this is a tradition of the weeks between Passover and Shavuot. Okay, so we're counting today, the day after day 29. And I invite everybody to please rise. Turn to page 570. And we can read it in both Hebrew and English. 570. Hineni mukhan u'mizuman l'kayem mitzvat aseh shel sirat ha'omer. I am ready to fulfill the mitzvah of counting the Omer. Together we'll say the blessing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sfirat ha'omer. Okay, and so now we'll count first in Hebrew and then in English. Hayom shloshim yom Shehem Arba'a Shavuot U'Shnei Yamim LaOmer. Today is the 30th day of the Omer, which is 4 weeks and 2 days of the counting of the Omer. And kids, you thought arithmetic had no practical application in real lives. There we go. Page 586, Aleinu L'Shabeach.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'Adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמענו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Page 591.
ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו
Have a seat, except for Toby, who is here to greet us on behalf of our board.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
And welcome to any guests that are here with us tonight. My name is Toby Mizell, and I am membership co-chair. Please join us tomorrow at 8 o'clock for mindfulness and meditation. At 9 o'clock, then we have Torah study. So maybe you'll stick around and do that.
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock for mindfulness and 9 o'clock for Torah study, and the Zoom links are in your inbox. Tomorrow we celebrate, as Simona Cotril is called to the Bima as Bat Mitzvah, and it's going to be upstairs in the sanctuary at 10 o'clock. On Sunday morning, Havarim, our newly named men's club, will meet at 9:30 for bagels and coffee, followed by a discussion group at 10:30. Please come in through the south side of the building to meet in the community room. And mark your calendars, everyone, for the unveiling of our gorgeous new ark doors next Friday, May 12th. We're going to gather for Erev Shabbat services in the sanctuary to recognize this really exciting milestone. And we're also at that time going to honor our high school seniors. Additional upcoming events include TBT's annual meeting that everybody should try to come to on the evening of Wednesday, May 17th. On the 19th, we're going to honor our teachers, and there'll be confirmation on Shavuot on May 26th. And then on May 23rd, TBT is teaming up with the First Congregational Church of Madison to host a workshop on confronting hate and anti-Semitism in our community. Discussion groups will examine scenarios and discuss reactions and solutions. And those who are interested in representing Temple Beth Tikvah, check your inbox for more details, because if you want to be part of this, the space is limited, so call the office. Meanwhile, we look forward to seeing you again next weekend as we celebrate the Bat Mitzvah of Olivia Mervine Schiff. So Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Believe it or not, that's not even everything that's going on this month. Not even close. All right, friends. Well, it's time for us to enter a place of memory as we think of those who have passed away from our lives, whether in recent days or this season in time gone by. And our congregation is especially thinking of the Sack family as we lay to rest this week. Ed Sack, a longtime member and leader of our congregation, who joins his wife Gloria in eternity. They passed away just within about 2 years of one another. So we're thinking very much of David and Suzanne and Casey and Sam and Emily, the Sack family tonight. I invite you, if you're here to say Kaddish for a yard site, to please rise as I read the name of your loved one, and please stay standing if you're comfortable doing so. We remember Edward Gleich, Sarah Sapir, Judith Siegel, Harvey Levy, Jerry Muskin, Joseph Fenton, and Renee Levine. If you're here to say Kaddish tonight, and you'd like to share the name of your loved one for whom you're saying Kaddish, I invite you to do so at this time if you're comfortable, and that includes anybody who is joining us on Zoom.
Barbara Johnston.
Barbara Johnston.
Thank you.
Shelley Capozzi remembers Alan Belgard. We rise together and turn to page 598 for the Mourner's Kaddish.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, ועומד דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומייכון ובחיי כל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב ויראו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעולמי עולמיה, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתהלל ויתהלל שמי וקודשה ברכו, לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, תאמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. Amen.
May the source of peace bring peace to all who are bereaved. As together we say,
Amen. Ose shalom bimromav, uyase shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Israel. Amen.
we can all have a seat. Although I do invite any children who are of pre-B'nai Mitzvah age who would like to join us for Kiddush to help and have the first taste of challah. Any takers? No? Yes? Hopefully?
Yes.
Hopefully?
Awesome.
Come on up, you guys. Come join Dr. C right next to me. All right. So friends, we're going to be on page 123. If you'd like to follow along with Kiddush, okay. Here, I'll turn to you because you didn't bring your book. I'll turn to mine. Okay. And raise that glass, and we'll sing together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, u'rei peri ha'gafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'hatzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho v'ahava u'ratzon yigdilanu, zikaron le'maaseh bereishit, ki hu yom tefillah l'mikra'ei kodesh, zecher yetziat Mitzrayim, ki banu v'charta, v'atanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodeshecha, ve'ahava u'ratzon yichiltanu, baruch atah Adonai Mekadeh Hashamat v'chayim. Take a little sip of that. How is it? Refreshing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, there it is.
I'm sorry, didn't realize.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz v'te'avon.
Shabbat shalom. Got a piece? Take it, yeah.
Yeah, good job. Ooh, nice chunk. You want to hand it out?
Really good job. Okay, thank you. Why don't we put it on the table because we have masks right now?
Oh, yeah, good point. Fine.
People can take some on the way out.
Our closing sign is on page 652.
Well, we learned this last week. Well, we can review the chorus. Okay, and this is a very, I would call it optimistic and wistful, but a little melancholy, which is a great summary of a lot of Israeli feelings. So it's a beautiful song about the coming year and our hopes. You can read the translation if you want, poetic translation on the following page. And the chorus sounds like this. O Tire, Kamatovia, Vashana, Vashana, Haba. O Tire, Kamatovia, Vashana, Vashana, Haba. Vashana, Haba. Vashana, Vashana, Haba. O Tire, Hamatoriye, Vashana, Vashana, Haba. Hanabi, Madumi, Yashilu, Adaele, Yushu, Sonerim, Leshulchan. Veruchot vedumim, Yisrael b'aderet yitonim, Yeshanim te'ana. O Tire, Amatoriye, Vashana, Vashana, Haba. O Tire, Amatoriye, Vashana, 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 Haba. Mivos kapod yadayim, Ha'or, Hariga, Alava. Anava, Levana, Tifos, Lord, Levayim, Hashem, Tizrach, V'torah. O Tire, Hamatoriye, Vashana, Vashana, Haba. O Tire, Hamatoriye, Vashana, Vashana, Haba. We have enough Jewish New Year's, that's for sure, but this is going to be a new year next week. It's going to feel like the beginning of something great. So we can't wait to see you there. Thanks for being here tonight to join in the community. We'll see you upstairs next week. Shabbat Shalom.